Bungie recently put out a blog post letting us know about changes coming to underused exotics in Season 22. So there's some big changes coming, and it may be time to dust off some of these old exotic armor pieces from your vault. Well, today I'm going to go through all the updates for all the classes so you know what to use for Season 22 in Destiny 2. Without further delay, let's dive right into these changes. So I'm going to go through all the changes for each class and then pick out one to watch for each of those classes. So first of all, let's start out with the Hunters. Well, first up, we've got Knucklehead Radar, and Bungie say the functionality of Foe Tracer has been completely removed from that exotic and added to Knucklehead Radar on top of its existing benefits. As a quick reminder, the Foe Tracer had a perk on it called Relentless Tracker, and that visually marks targets and deals more damage to low health marked targets, provides a small benefit to the airborne effectiveness stat of all weapons. So that does make a lot of sense for Knucklehead Radar in terms of the visual design for that exotic piece of armor. Talking about Foe Tracer, we're going to go there next. So with Foe Tracer, Bungie say we took some cues from the popular monochromatic Maestro artifact perk for this one. When you deal damage with one of your abilities, you gain a bonus damage with weapons that have damage types matching your subclass damage type. Additionally, when you defeat an enemy you've damaged with one of your abilities, either with another ability or with a weapon or with a damage type matching your subclass type, you will spawn one of the collectible objects associated with your subclass, such as an Ionic Trace or a Fire Sprite. So, Foe Tracer could be one to watch given the damage increase, although we're going to have to wait and see exactly how much damage and, crucially, how much increase. So mark this one down as one to definitely try when Season 22 rolls around. Next up, we've got the Lucky Raspberry, and Bungie say this exotic was a little bit too unreliable in its current form, so we've taken a crack at streamlining its energy gains while leaving some of its benefits intact. The exotic still expands the chaining capability of Arc Bolt grenades, but now, instead of basing the grenade energy gains on those chains, each time you damage an enemy with the lightning strikes from the jolted condition, as well as each time you pick up an Ionic Trace, you gain additional grenade energy. So we've also given this grenade the intrinsic ability to stun overload champions. That is very, very good. Now you don't have to jolt them and trigger the jolt lightning strikes just to stun them, making the grenades even more reliable tool against overload champions. So this one is an absolutely fantastic change. I've never really used Lucky Raspberry too much, but with the change, especially to overload champions and that stunning mechanic, more ways to stun champions, always very, very useful indeed. And finally, for the Hunters, we got the Renewal Grasp, so we've undone the previous nerf to Dustfield Grenade cooldowns when using this exotic. So this one is another really, really good change. Renewal Grasps were must-have for Hunters when they first came out. Bungie took them out of action with that nerf, so the Renewal Grasps are going to be back in play for Stasis Hunters. Well, thinking about one to watch, overall I think Foe Tracer is going to be the one to watch for Hunters. If that damage increase is substantial, then we could see a sharp rise for the Foe Tracer in endgame content. In terms of getting those exotic pieces, Knucklehead Radar you can get from Xur, Foe Tracer you can get from Xur, Lucky Raspberry also get from Xur, and also exotic engrams as well. I think Renewal Grasps are the only ones you're going to have to go to Legend or Master Lost sectors to get. Well, next up we've got the Titans. We're going to start off with ICEFALL Mantle. That grants an escalating bonus to stasis weapon damage when getting rapid stasis kills. When you activate your class ability, you immediately gain a highest tier bonus. So it's pretty much the same for the FANG Pauldron. Grants an escalating bonus to void weapon damage when getting rapid void kills. And when you get a void melee kill, you immediately gain the highest tier bonus. Similar for Path of the Burning Steps, getting a solo grenade kill now grants the highest tier solo weapon damage bonus, and also similar to Eternal Warrior as well, since the exotic only grants this highest tier damage bonus automatically when your super ends. The duration of the arc weapon damage bonus when your Fist of Havoc super ends has been extended by up to 30 seconds, up from 10 seconds in Season 21. So all of those exotic armor pieces do very, very similar things for Titans across a number of elements. FANG have always been really, really good, so I imagine this is going to supercharge your Void Titan. Next up, we got the ACD0 feedback fence. So this exotic got a complete mechanical rework and now ties into the armor charge system, increasing its versatility and making it more useful in scenarios where you might not be taking a lot of melee damage. So with the new perk, the melee hits give you an armor charge, and you take reduced melee damage while you have the armor charge. Taking melee damage causes you to emit a burst of damaging arc energy that jolts targets, consuming your armor charge, and dealing more damage based on the number of stacks consumed. So I really like the way this exotic works with the armor charge system, and it would be really good to see more exotic armor pieces work into that feature in the future. So this is really good, Bungie. More of this, please. Next up, we've got the HALLOWFIRE Heart. So this exotic stands in the shadow of the more ubiquitous Heart of Inmost Light. To remedy that, we've removed its base energy to solar abilities and replaced it with a perk that allowed you to build more into sunspots. We think that you'll be seeing many more sunspots on the battlefield as a result. That's very curious there, Bungie. As for the perk that greatly increases your ability to regen rate when your super is fully recharged, we left that as is. So sunspots are super powerful for solar titans in Destiny 2. It's really interesting to see exactly how many more sunspots get onto the battlefield, and as Bungie alluded to, more being created. How and where they're going to be created definitely is the key. So the one to watch for titans for me has to be the HALLOWFIRE Heart. In terms of getting these armor pieces, so ICEFALL Mantle, you can get those from Legend or Master Lost Sectors. FANG Pauldrons, you can get from Xur. Path of the Burning Steps, I think that's another one you get from Legend or Master Lost Sectors. Eternal Warrior, you can get them from Xur, and also exotic engrams as well. ACD Zero Feedback Fangs, get it from Xur. HALLOWFIRE Heart, also get it from Xur. Well, next up, let's have a look at Warlocks. So first of all, we got the ASTROCYTE verse. So Bungie say we've added 2 more pieces of functionality to this exotic. Enemies near you, when you blink, become volatile, and additionally, when you're using the Nova Warp super, the Dark Blink ability no longer consumes super energy. So making enemies volatile while blinking is absolutely fantastic, plus not using super energy for Dark Blink is really going to help. Next up, we got the GEOMAG stabilizers. So Bungie say, while we've often heard calls to restore the perk that lets you top up your super energy by sprinting, the legacy of that incentive still creates some pretty silly play patterns. Instead, we wanted to give players a way to get more super energy no matter how charged their super is. So now, picking up an Ionic Trace while wearing the exotic will grant Guardians additional super energy. So while this one isn't going to restore GEOMAGs back to their previous best, I think this is a nice change, and I'll be definitely checking those out on my Warlock. Well, next up we've got the Wings of Sacred Dawn, and Bungie say, leaning into the orbital weapons platform fantasy, we wanted to help players having a way to stay aloft longer. Typically, reloading was the main cause for a float to end. This exotic now automatically reloads solar weapons from reserves each time you get a kill while aiming down sights. So this one sounds like an absolutely fantastic change. Can't wait for this one. And for weapons like Xenophage and Galahorn, I imagine Solar Warlocks are going to be providing plenty of death from above with this exotic armor piece. Finally, out of the whole set, we got Winter's Guile, and Bungie say, due to the nature of the Stasis Warlock's melee ability, this exotic was previously a disappointing choice for that subclass. We've added a new perk to this one, specifically when you're playing your Stasis subclass. Now combatants encased by your Penumbral Blast melee will automatically shatter after a short delay. So it sounds like a decent change for Winter's Guile, and while the change is welcome, it's going to have to be spectacular to make me take off my Osmiomancy gloves for my Stasis Warlock. So my 1-2 watch for Warlocks is Wings of Sacred Dawn. That sounds like a hell of a lot of fun, especially paired with solar exotic weapons. In terms of getting these armor pieces, ASTROCYTE verse you can get from Xur, GEOMAG stabilizer get from Xur, Wings of Sacred Dawn come from Xur as well, Winter's Guile also from Xur, so I think everything there is from Xur. And of course, farming Nightfall Strikes and other exotic loot locations as well will get you these exotic armor pieces. You can also go to Master Rahul in the tower. That is now a very good place to get exotic armor. Well, let me know in the comments what you think about the exotic changes coming to Destiny 2 in Season 22, and that is it for this guide for the new exotic armor meta in Season 22. And as always, thank you so much for watching or listening. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you real soon.